Rightio, welcome to everyone that just joined us. We're just about to get started. Welcome to the PCO SIG. We're recording this, so if you have to dash off early, we should be done in under an hour. So the optimum viewing time for online classes is 45 minutes down to 22 minutes. So how I usually do these sessions is I do 22 minutes and I leave 22 minutes for questions and answers. So 50% me and 50% you. So this is all about you. It's not all about me. I'm just here to try and facilitate, but I'm going to start getting the conversation going, and we'll see how we go from there. So, like I was saying, it's all about you. It's not all about me. It's about us sharing. And so, a little bit of me, you know me, you know me from the PCO Association. I don't need to go into that. If you need to know more about me, just Google me. You'll find me out there. But I've offered to do this because found out that so many of my PCO clients, so many of my meeting planners, my corporate in-house meeting planners were struggling with technology. And Peter Zug asked me if I would host a monthly group, and this is our first go. So this is all up to you, not just all up to me. It's all up to all of us to share. So make sure when you come along to these sessions, you know what you need. You may be looking for something. You've got an idea. You're looking for an app. You're looking for a solution. You're looking for some strategy and advice. And also, if you could come along to these sessions and bring along what you have. You've got experience with technology as well, good or bad, and let's share that amongst the group. So I've got three big ideas for you. One that I think is super cool, a little app that I think is going to change the way you do microphones. I'm going to talk about location devices and how that's integrating in-house, meaning that it's in-house location. So think of Google Maps, but inside an audience space, so a conference hall or something like that. So bringing Google Maps inside sort of thing. And then an idea or two about where you could do some continued learning about hybrid conferences. So let's get started. And as we go along, if you have any questions, type it into the question box or the chat box, and I'll be popping over there periodically to answer all your questions. So just about a week ago, or a week and a half ago, I was watching an online conference. It was a launch festival where startups would show off their latest products or devices, and investors were sitting in the audience and they critiqued them and would give them live feedback. And one of the first that they showed off, and I immediately looked at that and I said, this is exactly the kind of thing we need at all the conferences that I go speak at, because there's always people shuffling around or tripping over things or running microphones around. And this is based on a really big idea. So CrowdMic says, we've all got amazing microphones built in to our iPhones. So why don't we turn our iPhones into microphones? Because everybody has it, and Android devices as well. They all have smartphones now, or you could borrow one from a neighbor. So why don't we do that? Why don't we turn your iPhone, your Android device, into a microphone? So the two founders are brothers. You won't get any audio here, but you'll get to see a little bit of their demonstration. And they push a link out to all the attendees. So they just type in a few letters, and then one person at a time can push the button, and it gets broadcast through the internal speakers. And all you need for this is you just need one iPhone that sort of hosts the meeting, and it's the receiver for the microphone. And that plugs into the sound system, just like an audio out on a laptop. And then everybody else just connects using the app. Now, for some people who don't want to, speak, they can type a message in. You can also do simple polls. And this way, they say, in an audience, instead of having just 3 or 4 mics, you could have 2,000 mics. So it works through Wi-Fi. You don't have to use the hotel's Wi-Fi, by the way. You can bring your own little Wi-Fi hub. Even a presenter can just bring along a hub, plug it in on the lectern, and then the output goes through the audio output of an iPhone, just like you would plug in the audio output from a laptop. So very easy, very straightforward, and the audio quality sounds fantastic. And I've just emailed the founders and I've asked them for a demo account so I can demonstrate this around the place, and maybe we'll give it a try at one of your events. save you on those microphone fees. So I'm going to do a little survey for everybody that's listening. When you do an event, think about the events. How many microphones do you hire so you can have interaction either on stage or from the audience? If you could just type into the chat box how many mics you usually hire, so put in 3 mics or 4 mics or 2 mics, and then put in with a little $ how much you usually hire those mics for. Or you can say, don't hire mics, we own all of ours. So if you just type that in the chat box, it'll give me an idea of how much you guys are spending on microphones. That'd be interesting because I'm about to show you the pricing. So you could do it by comparison. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Okay, 6 mics, Clive says $400. $70 each, 2 of them, 2 handheld, 2 or 3 mics. Yeah, that sounds about the going rate. Somewhere around $50 to $100 a mic, maybe 150. It depends on where you're getting them from. So I think this is pretty fair pricing. You download the app and then they license it based on your audience size. So I'll go to the pricing page. Let's see what they've got. Let's see. You can have, where's their pricing gone? Crowd mics. There it is. So you can try it for a small group for 20 participants for free. Or let's say you've got 400 participants, $388. And you can get billed monthly or for a single event. So yeah, they should be sending me a demo account soon. I'll try it and give you a out in the field feedback on that. But I just thought that was an excellent, excellent solution instead of hiring mics. Everybody's got a great mic. They've got a fantastic microphone in their iPhone. So that's one of the ideas I wanted to share with you. The next idea I wanted to share with you is a somewhat bigger idea. So you may have heard about what Apple's been promoting with something called iBeacon. And iBeacon is an extended standard. It's a Apple standard, but they extended the standard of Bluetooth. It's based on Bluetooth LE, and Bluetooth LE stands for low energy. And it means that devices don't get their batteries worn down so much when they're on Bluetooth. And it makes your iPhone or Android device last much longer. And I first encountered this when I went to the Apple store in Bondi Junction. And I walked into the store and I had the Apple Store app, not the App Store, the Apple Store app where you can check yourself out. Don't even have to interact with an Apple employee. You can go up to a device, you can scan the barcode, it'll charge your account, and you can walk out, which is pretty amazing. But now they've added iBeacon to all their devices in an Apple Store. And as you walk up to various devices, as long as you got your Bluetooth turned on, if you stand next to the iPads that are on the table there, you will get a message pop up saying, here are the details on this iPad mini. This is the price. Would you like to add it to your bag? And so on. So this is all based on Bluetooth LE and Apple's new standard of iBeacon. And of course, it's going to move into retail. You could imagine having a loyalty app on your phone. You go into a shoe store. As you walk towards a particular pair of shoes, it gives you a 50% off offer. But you can do a lot more than that because you can measure the distance from these iBeacons. You can sort of do internal mapping, so you can see where they're walking around the store, how long they stand in front of something, how far they are away. You can give them directions. So for internal directions, getting to a particular meeting room, and also, obviously, one of the great examples of using this in the not too distant future will be checking people in. So at a check-in desk, as they just walk towards it, they might be 50 feet away. They get a little ding ding on their phone, up pops their pass that they can scan at the door and walk into the expo. So potentially no more printed tags, Likewise, expos could have low tooth, low energy Bluetooth iBeacons on their booth, and as people walked around, they could share their information or receive information from the exhibitors. Now, this is going to be huge because Bluetooth is an international standard supported by lots and lots of different manufacturers. And if you would like to see the long list, I can't possibly fit it here on screen. I've put a hyperlink in here. You can go to the list of all the devices, but it is not just Apple and iOS, but lots and lots of other manufacturers. In fact, most Samsung laptops have this built in as well, where you can turn your laptop into an iBeacon. So your check-in laptop at a registration desk could also be an iBeacon. Pretty cool. If you'd like to try this yourself, I found this great developer online called PassKit, and they'll allow you to make your own little pass to allow people to do ticketing or come into your event just by filling out a form online. And it's a little bit geeky, so you might need to get your local teenager to help you out with it. But anyway, just have a look at if you can figure out uh, what these fields are, and if you don't, you can just click on the question mark and it will tell you. And what this PassKit does is it makes a little card like you see there, store card, or let's say an entrance pass. And instead of it requiring an app, like built into an event app, it just goes into the standard um, uh, pass, like the applications that are built into iOS and Android for saving things like your airline tickets or your gym membership. So these apps are built into multiple devices, and instead of having to build an app, you can just have it go in like this. And I don't know if any of you have tried this. This is what happens when I check into a Qantas flight. I go to the Qantas mobile app on my iPhone, and then it says, "Do you want to add this to your passbook on the iPhone?" And it just saves in my little wallet. And these wallets, which is a generic term for them, is built into most smartphone devices. So if you'd like to try this yourself, you can fill out that form, and then you can get a little a transmitter. And as you can see, they're tiny now. It's smaller than a little USB thumb drive. And these, if you plug this into a battery source, it'll run for months on end, broadcasting, say, the name of your event or the check-in screen or what have you, or it could be advertising. And you can change it. It's not permanent. You can log into the device with the iPhone app that they've got, change the details. So, throughout the day, you could be sending out different messages. And I was looking at some projections of what iBeacon looks like, and with every iDevice, Apple's iDevices that run OS 7 or higher, and any of the Android devices running Android 4.2 or higher, plus every iPad, most of the tablets, lots of PCs. It looks like by the middle of this year, we should have somewhere around 400 million iDevices out there all talking to one another. In fact, I was delivering a paper at a big conference in Melbourne just last week on the future of this machine-to-machine communication. And the research that I was doing shows that this machine-to-machine communication, which this is based on, the Internet of Things, looks like it's going to be 100 times bigger. The market opportunity will be 100 times bigger than the existing Internet is today. Now, I knew what you guys were going to ask me. You're going to say, well, how about show apps, event apps? We're already doing this, or some of our clients are thinking about this. Shouldn't we integrate that with our show apps? And you certainly should. And I've already had chats with Show Gizmo and asked the Marie Claire, who's one of the co-founders, what's your thinking about iBeacon? And she's very optimistic about it. And she hasn't told me directly, but I suspect that she's got a team working on this right now. And the development is not as hard as we thought it would be, with lots of companies like that last one popping up, coming up with lots of low cost solutions. And I was also chatting to Peter Hare at CrowdComms. He was saying the same thing, really excited about the applications that you might be able, that extra bit that you build into your app. So let's say, oh, I know how I'm going to use it when I'm speaking. Stick one of these little USB dongles with a battery pad on the doors, and as the delegates walk in, up on their device pops, click here to view Craig Rispin's slides. So you get that second screen experience, just like everybody's watching their iPads these days while they're watching television. They want to look at other content on their iPad while they're listening to speakers. So wouldn't it be great if we could push it to them as they were going to their seats? So that's what I'm working on for my own application, hacking around with these uh, uh, little iBeacon devices. Hey, I just wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys got an invite to this, but there's a fantastic event that Show Gizmo, Be There Global, and Planet is co-sponsoring. They're going back to GIBTM and doing a show within a show, the Event Camp Middle East within GIBTM. And last year I spoke at this, and we had over 15,000 people log on and join us. It was an incredible event. And that's next Monday and Tuesday. And if you jot down bit.ly/ECME for Event Camp Middle East, that'll take you straight to the registration page. It's completely free of charge for meetings professionals, and it's on Abu Dhabi time. I think they're about 5 hours ahead of us. I'm sure it'll be recorded and played back as well. But I'll be watching as much as I can based on my schedule, and it'd be great if a bunch of us could log on and share what we learn. It's going to be some really interesting chats about well, the future of events, and especially lots of hybrid event chat. Oh, and also how to bring social media into your events, which is an ever fresh topic. So if you go to that link, which is bit.ly/ECME, you'll get to this page and you can register free of charge. Okay. Hey guys, I wanted to tell you as the last thing to share with you before I open the microphones and everybody can have a chat about what technology questions they have or ideas I'd like to share, is this event that I did last week in Melbourne. It was fantastic. We had the head of Google engineering, Ray Kurzweil, talking about the future of Google, the future of wearables, the future of smart machines. But he couldn't get permission to leave California. They're awfully busy at Google. So he was live streamed in using a web conferencing solution, not GoToMeeting, but a web conferencing solution from Polycom. And there were over 2,000 delegates to this conference. And you know, some of them were disappointed that they didn't get to see Ray Kurzweil live. They're rolling in going, oh, he's only coming in by satellite, they thought, or by streaming video. And while they were walking in, they seemed really disappointed. Quite a few people were talking about this. But then I was surveying them over lunch afterwards and saying, so what did you think about that presentation from Ray Kurzweil from Google? Did you enjoy it? Oh yeah. Well, when you went in, did you think you would enjoy it? You know, here you are at a live event and you're watching a streaming video. They said, oh, you know, after the first 5 minutes, we knew it was going to work well. We relaxed. We could follow along with his slides on our iPads. We could chat to one another, you know, instant message one another. It was a great experience. So, you know, these solutions are becoming cheaper and cheaper, and the systems that Google uses to broadcast themselves around the world are the systems you can use for free. So if you're thinking about doing this, you should really explore it. And Event Camp Middle East is going to be a perfect example of not only doing it, but sharing how it's done. So I'd really encourage you to attend. Rightio, I'm going to stop there and go back to the question bar, see if anybody's typed in any other questions other than, so Barbara says, is it a webinar? What is what a webinar, Barbara? Let's see if I can open your microphone. Give me a second here. Barbara's towards the top. There you go, Barbara. You can speak up.
Just event camp.
Event camp. It is streaming video, and also you'll see running down the side. So you'll see the video here, live stream, and then over to the right will be everybody chatting on Twitter, having sort of, conversations down the side at the same time. And this is where many events now, this is where they go. They'll stream the live event and bring in the social media at the same time. So 15 years ago, all we would do was stream the live event in tiny little video, but now we can integrate the social media side as well. And obviously, Show Gizmo will have an app, so you can read and set reminders to yourself, because you might want to wake up early to see Paul Cook speak. So you download the app, say, remind me when that session's on, and you can log in and watch it. So, yeah.
And is the Ray Kurzweil event, was that a Google Hangout?
It was a Google Hangout. Yeah. You got it in one. Because Google has taken this tool that used to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. They've tested it themselves. They've done one of the biggest events themselves with 8,000 people in San Francisco live, with 50,000 Google employees around the globe in hotel rooms simultaneously all around the globe. They didn't want to fly everyone in, so they let them stay in their home country, and they attended via Google Hangout. And then they, at the same time, streamed it out to over 1 million viewers simultaneously on a Google Hangout. And now you can do this yourself. So it's called, it's a special type of Google Hangout. Google Hangouts on air. So you're broadcasting it as well.
Yeah, we've been using it for a couple of years.
For what sort of conferences have you been using it?
IT.
IT, yeah. And it's getting better every year, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. All right. Leanne asks, when using CrowdMic, do all delegates have to be connected to the same Wi-Fi? Yes, they do. That's how they communicate. But as I mentioned just briefly, you can set up your own internal Wi-Fi that may not even be connected to the internet at all. So it's not going to be affected by outside bandwidth. It's only going to be affected by the room that you're in. So an easy way of doing this is bringing along one of these Apple Airport Express devices, a little white box you fit in the palm of your hand. You can plug that into the presenter's underneath the lectern. You can connect the presenter's iPhone to that Wi-Fi, ask everybody else in the room to connect to that Wi-Fi, and then they could share, broadcast their voice. But that doesn't necessarily have to connect to the outside world. It could, but it's really, you're connecting to people in the audience. So, yeah. It's Heidi Sola asks, do you think e-guides are useful in the market, or are apps better? Well, I think apps are much better. They're not necessarily cheaper. Many apps, and the best ones, require a significant investment in time or money. That's why most of them are sponsored. You can make e-guides pretty simply, but the difference with apps is that they can be persistent, so they can stay on your phone. You can send out messages, so you can prompt people that they need to get to a session or send out an emergency message. You can do scanning, so you can scan barcodes and send them on a treasure hunt, or get them to share their information with exhibitors. And of course, the next step will be iBeacons. You'll be seeing this rolling out at all sorts of conferences, obviously IT conferences first, and then medical conferences after that, and then after a couple years, all conferences will be using them. And you can't really build iBeacon into an e-guide, but you can easily add it to and fairly easily add it to an app. So Martin asks, can I show this webinar to others in Australia? We run more computer conferences in Australia than any other company. Cool. Our conference committees would love to try this out. Well, sure, absolutely. I'm recording this now, and it will take several hours to compress into a format, and then I'll be uploading it to YouTube and sharing it on the PCO conference website. But it will be public, and you can share it to anyone who would like to know about it. Now, obviously, when I'm out there speaking on emerging trends, many of my conference organizers give me a call up and ask me for advice. You know, which event app should they use? Should they use GoToMeeting or Google Hangouts? And this is something I do on a regular basis, but I never charge for my advice. It's just included with um, the to my meeting planner friends and their clients once they've engaged me to work on their conference. So, okay, any other questions from the audience? Let's see. Max Turpin says, Show Gizmo, Marie Claire and I are integrating iBeacon into their mobile app coming soon. Fantastic. Can't wait because so many conferences I go to are using the Show Gizmo app. You're right, Bluetooth must be on it to work. Yes, it has to be switched on. The benefit of iBeacon over RFID slash NFC, which stands for near field communication, is the range. He goes on to say that iBeacon range is 50 meters and RFID is only a few meters at much. And I've actually been in a very open environment, Max. So Apple stores, you can see they're very lots of open space, and I was picking up signals, 150 meters away. So it depends on the environment that you're in, of course. Clive asks, Mona does a similar thing to know about each exhibit once you get near it. That's exactly right. So they're doing a similar thing, and I was reading a story of how Mona was going to be upgrading to using iBeacon as well. So, Karen, you were asking about an echo, and that was one of our other delegates that they were unmuted and they didn't have their headphones on. So I tried to mute them so you didn't get an echo. Now, if you'd like to put your hand up, do you know how to put your hand up in a GoToMeeting? There's a little button you can click to put your hand up. If you'd like to speak, you put your hand up, I'll get notified, and then I can unmute you and you can ask a question or or share some experience. Or if you don't want to turn your mic on, you can just type it in questions or chat. So I'll give you a minute to do that. Put your hand up or type in a question or share some experiences. And if nobody's going to volunteer, I'm going to volunteer someone. Max, are you there?
Yes, I am, Craig.
You knew I was going to pick on you.
I kind of guessed you might be.
So what do you think? Are you going to use iBeacon at any of your upcoming conferences?
Oh, look, Craig, yes, I would love to. It's just finding a client that really is forward-thinking enough to use it. I see this being extremely valuable for exhibitions, of course, because you can literally track anybody moving through the show and exactly where they go. I was recently at AIM, for example, and I know you were there too.
Yes.
They're still using, and I don't want to put them down, but they're still using, technology to check people in and enter the show doors. That's probably 20 years old.
Mm,
Why aren't they using iBeacon?
yeah.
Aren't AIM or Reed meant to be showing the way for us?
Hmm. Well, at least you've got one client. I know you're helping on the technology side for the PCO conference at the end of the year, and we won't be doing that without iBeacons, will we?
Mm. Well, hope not. Hope not. I mean, it's really, and that's what it's about, Craig, and that's what this SIG is about. It's just really, bringing the industry up to speed on what's available and what's out there, and leading the way, so that the youngsters entering our industry are inspired.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, thank you for sharing. And look
Pleasure.
at the pricing here, Max. I just found that they just put up the
Yeah.
pricing page. So you can have 10,000 dynamic passes, like swipes at booths or what have you. So up to
Mm,
10,000, and so that'd be a number of delegates swiping many, many times or getting picked up, and you can do that for $29 a month. Now, the beacons are $25, so you have to buy quite a few of those little $25 dongles, but I think you could easily charge that to an exhibitor, couldn't you?
yes.
Yeah. Okay, we got a couple hands up. I'm going to mute you, Max. Thanks for sharing, and we'll
Pleasure.
let somebody else share as well. So, who had his hand up? Clive had his hand up. So, hello, Clive. You there, Clive?
Hi, I'm there. How you going, Craig?
I'm going very well. Great to hear from you. What's your question, or
Thank
what would
you.
you like to share?
Yeah, it was in relation to that comment, I guess, and maybe the other side to it. In the point, I guess, that people like us should be leading the industry and telling them what advances are out there, which I totally agree with. But the other side to it, I guess, is that I'm assuming that. I mean, I'd be interested to know that most people in the SIG are geeks, and we've got an interest in the technology. But I'm always interested in the other side of it, which is what are our clients telling us that they really want, rather than what we're telling them they want because it's cool. And I'd be really interested to know, I guess, what clients, from maybe other than people who are involved in the computer IT industry, because obviously they're going to be very interested in the latest advances, but for other industries and professions, what they want, that they think that technology would help them with.
Yeah, it's always Ray Kurzweil, who's one of the most renowned futurists of our age, his predictions have been verified for 30 years. Said that the advance of technology is completely predictable, but how we respond to it as a society, as individuals, is another thing. So, and he's exactly right. So, Martin, you wanted to share as well. You had your hand up. Do you wanted to share or ask a question? Martin?
Are you talking to Martin Lack now?
Yes, Martin Lack, please share.
Hi. Hi. Thanks for that. As you said a few minutes ago, we run the more computer conferences in Australia than any other company, and we've always pushed the technology. And there are three conferences that who I know very personally who would like to watch the video or the webinar we've just participated in, so they can use all of this over the coming months. So congratulations, that was a brilliant webinar. The comment I will say about the PCO Association conference in November is I went there as a speaker, and I was very disappointed that the way they handled the barcodes on the delegate badges was still barcodes, whereas we've been using QR codes for about 4 years, and the value of QR codes, of course, is that every exhibitor can read those QR codes with their smart device, with some simple back-end stuff, then get access to the personal details. And the guys who were running the conference didn't have a clue.
Yeah. Well, Martin, it sounds like you're offering to volunteer, are you?
Well, I mean, in the end, you've got to, I mean, as one of the previous guys said, you've got to have a client who's
Yeah.
interested in trying new things. And
well, at the
my
PCO
disappointment-
Association, we want to try things on ourselves,
I know.
not a paying
I know.
client, right? So let's try it on
I know.
ourselves first. So, yeah. What do you
That's
think
what
about
we
that?
used to do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken
So we used
Wilson,
to have
you had
people
your hand
come
up
to
as
us.
well. And what do you think about what Martin's saying here? Or did you want to ask a question? You there, Ken? Ken Wilson?
Yes, I'm here. I actually missed some of that, unfortunately.
Oh, that's
I
okay. We're
walked into
recording
the
it. You'll
office.
get a link to it after a few hours. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was very keen to go to the PCO conference last year, but what stopped me was the program. Basically, we are an event organizer, but we also run our own events. So we're basically both, I guess.
Yes.
And and the industry we deal in is the primary sector mostly. And so most of those guys have no idea about technology, and they run when they see it.
Mm.
So basically, it's looking at what technologies are available. That's almost seamless.
Mm.
Because I also had a major upgrade of our registration system, and it all went to pies when the network went down, and you had 300 people lined up at a registration desk. So
Right. Oh, I know I can help
there's
you with
just a
that, Ken.
whole bunch of things like
Yes.
that.
Oh, so Ken, I have a client that is a dam client, and they don't work on water. They work on digital asset management. Digital asset management. They do things like, scan all the artwork in the National Museum and put it in archives that are guaranteed to work for 25 years. And they have a policy that I've enacted for broadband. And this is what they talk about at the Dam Association. They say we have a 3-2-1 policy. So we know that we really don't have a digital copy of something unless we have three copies of it. And two of them have to be in different formats, because we don't know 25 years from now whether we'll have zip drives. Remember zip drives, Ken? Remember those zip
I
drives?
know all about all of them.
And they're gone now. You can't find any readers. And if you do find a reader, it connects to your parallel port or FireWire port, and we don't have those anymore. So they say you got to have three copies. You got to have, or you don't really have it. So three copies, two different formats, and one has to be offsite, not in your organization. And so when people ask me, Craig, how can you guarantee that a network's going to work for you? I say you need to bring in a device, and you can buy them. They're routers now that have multiple. They have three backups, two redundant links to the internet. And so what you have is you'll have your Ethernet from the venue or the hotel as one connection. You'll have a Wi-Fi USB thing plugged in, so you can connect to Wi-Fi as backup. And alternatively, you'll have one of these USB 4G connect dongles connected. And if one connection goes down, it falls to the next one and falls to the next one. And these little routers now cost less than $200. And this is what I do when I'm doing my, sometimes I volunteer my help to my clients to help them stream their first conference, and then they go from there. And we always, always, always have three internet connections. One wired Ethernet, one Wi-Fi to another network, and one cellular network. And I have to tell you, if you're in a good location for 4G, sometimes the 4G connection is faster than the wired network these days. It's amazing.
Yeah, the problem that we had for that particular bit was the venue had guaranteed broadband, wired broadband. Came to the venue and they says, no, we can't do that. Try Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi went down, everything, and we even had a complete takedown of the entire town's internet went down as well. We got through that by this was Albury.
Right.
But we got through that via Telstra's 4G on my phone, so
There
we
you
passed
go.
it. But
Yeah.
it was just one of those issues that turned up.
Yeah, and they
But
do all the time. But you had the common sense to revert to your phone, because these days, your phone 4G could be faster than anything. It is amazing.
yeah, no, it worked really well.
Mm.
But yeah, so there's that sort of thing. But there's also the likes of, I was at Connect last week as well.
Yeah.
And I noticed that pretty much every exhibitor struggled with the scanners to scan in your
Yeah.
your badge. Like it's a fairly like it's a 10-year-old device, and took like anything that takes more than a second or two to scan something is almost worthless. And a non-techie will look at that and just laugh.
I know. I was actually going around the exhibitors, and I was saying they would hand me their business card, and I would say, I can see you don't have very many, and so I would scan it using CamCard, my favorite business card scanner on my iPhone. It would instantly save it into my phone, and I would send them by ticking one more box, send them a link to connect on LinkedIn, and that all takes less than 5 seconds. And then I put their business card back in their holder, and they'd say, "Oh, hold on a second here. We've been having trouble with our scanners. We should just do that, shouldn't we, Craig?" And I said, "Yeah, you have an ideal scanner in your pocket. Why don't you do more with your phone, just like turning your phone into a microphone?" So, all right. Any last chance, guys? I promised to keep this to 45 minutes. We got 1 minute remaining. Any last questions? Let's see. Anybody else wants to share? Did everybody get a chance to speak? I'm going to put hands down, everyone. Last chance to put the hands up. I've cleared it so I can see if, well, okay. I think we had a pretty good session. Well, here we got some more questions coming in. Let's see. QR codes seem to be slow too. Yes, Barbara, QR codes. I have to tell you, one of my clients years back when they were the biggest mobile company in the world, you may remember them, a company called Nokia. They hired me to do an event where they were spending $100 million worldwide to promote QR codes, and it just really didn't take off. And I think the reason was that only people in the know knew about QR codes. If they weren't in the know, they'd have to ask their friend, "What do I do?" And they'd have to download an app, and maybe they forgot their password for the app store, so that would frustrate them. As opposed to iBeacon, where as long as they got Bluetooth on, and 97% of phones do, it's going to work, and they don't have to do anything. It'll buzz in their purse or their pocket. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, it's a quarter to the hour. I promise I keep it to 45 minutes, half of sharing ideas and then half discussion from you guys. I think this is, just our first one, and I'm looking forward to our monthly sessions with new topics, guest speakers, trying out new technology every month, and then there's some exciting events coming up that we'll be partnering with with the PCO Association, an event tech type event coming up in August, and we'll have a face-to-face catch up there as well. So thanks everyone. Thanks everyone so much for attending. I'm going to hit done recording now, and you should be getting a copy of that. Oh, well, it'll take a few hours. I'll say tomorrow you should see an email going out. Thanks again, everyone, for attending. Looking forward to seeing you online